flips me a back body. So, it's another one, yeah. It's a first one, yeah. Oh, it's another one, yeah.
Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to a special R&R hour. Special because our beloved Ricco is taking a well-deserved break from boxing. So I have got a special guest and a new member of the iBoxingHub fam, Neutral's Corner. But he's not going to be neutral tonight because he's going to go in on me and go in hard. How are you, Neutral?
Oz. Mate, what's good? I'm fantastic. Feeling good, mate. How you doing there? You doing all right there, mate? You on the road, try to get back in. Let's do it, mate. I hope you're well armed.
I'm just literally pulling into my sister's place in Birmingham. I've had a long road trip after a day at work. Reason being because tomorrow I am covering the Wasserman show up in Telford. And Birmingham is closer to Telford than London.
Yeah.
I thought, sister's got a free room waiting for me.
Lovely.
So there you go. A bit of a road trip. I will be on camera shortly, but let me just get parked up. But anyway, tonight, the news that has been reverberating all week around boxing is, of course, the news that Canelo has departed from his 3-fight contract with the PBC. And of course, it set tongues a wagging, both pro and anti Canelo and pro and anti PBC. Two figures within the boxing world that bring about a lot of strong opinions. Opposing opinions, and that's what we got today.
Indeed.
So just to set the scene, I am well and truly, put my cards out there on the table.
What did you say?
I am well and truly in the Canelo hate camp, unashamedly, and I believe this is what our friend Azabach calls a sophisticated duck. That's right. I'm going all in on the theory that Canelo has ducked smoke, and that's why he's got out of the PBC contract. All right. But you, I know you have been sticking up for our beloved Abbas on his show on Monday. And listen, don't get it twisted. We're all family. And like all family, we do love each other, but there's family feuds. It happens,
Absolutely.
So, right now, you're on the other side of this feud. So, my God. Hey, look at that. The camera came on.
Thanks. Brilliant. Now I can see your emotions and your reactions to what I'm about to say.
What? The anguish in my face. Incidentally, everyone, before we start, we've got to do the usual. Shout out to our excellent sponsors, D-Rock Clothing. They are the people that are clothing none other than former and possibly second-time WBO heavyweight champ. We're talking Joseph Parker, as well as long-reigning former cruiserweight champ Johnny Nelson.
There you go, John.
Same people are sponsoring us. So if you go over to their website and use our discount code, that's iBoxingHub24, you can be clothed as stylishly as those two legends of the sport. Shout out to them. And of course, shout out to you, Neutral. You are a new member of the team, the family. You've got your show coming up soon, but we'll talk about that later on. But to my sister's house, got the whole place to myself, which means it's time to party. But our kind of parties involve discussing the fight game. So, again, going back to that big news. Tell me then, why am I wrong? Why is this not a duck?
Okay then. Right. You
Stick it on me. No mercy.
Yeah. You say it's a duck, right? I say you're naive. You're naive to think that. You're talking about a man. No, I've got to be real with you, mate. I've got to be real. You're naive to think that in the loveliest sense I could put it to you. Because that man has been boxing professionally from the age of 15 years of age. Right? Come from the streets of Mexico. He's ginger. Oh, can you imagine the disadvantages that he had? But 15 years of age, he is in that ring knocking out grown men, right? And that's from the age of 15. By the time he's 22, he's fighting Floyd Mayweather for all the smoke, for all the belts, and for all the glory. And he nearly done it at 22. But Floyd Mayweather is different class. Canelo, he learnt of Floyd Mayweather. He learnt everything and has took it forward into his own business. Now, let's take the latest situation with Canelo, with PBC, right? Last year, we all know PBC had a great year financially. However, all their top stars lost. Stephen Fulton, Flex Bianui, Bud, Flex Spence, and Charlo, well, took a knee. So they have suffered 3 losses in their 3 biggest fights that they put on this year. They've managed to hold on to Bud Crawford. They managed to hold on to Canelo, who signed deals earlier on in the year with PBC for specified amounts of money. They got their first fight out of the way. They signed up for rematches. Errol Spence pulled out. No rematch. Bud becomes a free agent. All this is going on. Canelo knows damn well PBC don't have the money to satisfy the contract as of last year. He knew it last year. Steven Espinosa knew it last year. That's why he's passing the buck to the zone now by saying, oh, so it wasn't about escrows and guarantors. Yes, it was. Because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation today, right? Because Canelo was lowballed on the offer that was given to him for this Charlo fight. They lowballed him on Charlo and the cheeky bastard. Sorry, I know it's only 6:30.
Hey, listen, when a Scotsman goes into one, I'm going to have to expect some bad language. It's okay. I'm sure the viewers know.
I'm sure they'll understand. You know what we're like. So, the cheeky so-and-so is stipulated that he fights David Benavidez. Well, I'm afraid no one tells Canelo what to do. Who do you think you're talking to? You are talking to the man who took over from the man who makes 35, 40, 50 million dollars a fight. And you have the cheek to lowball him and then tell him who he's fighting next? You don't know Canelo Alvarez. Ask Andrade who Canelo Alvarez is. Ask Charlo, first round, Jamal. Right? Ask GGG, fight 2. When does Canelo fight you? When he says. He doesn't answer to no sanctioning body. He owns them. And he's going to own PBC one day. But the thing is, at this moment in time, DAZN know this. DAZN, as far back as GGG2, right? He told them when he was fighting Golovkin. And they had to accept it then. So what's the difference today? What do they think they're doing? Demanding that he fights David Benavidez? No one tells that man what to do. Nobody. He has earned the right, like Floyd Mayweather did. Basically, to tell boxing, I'm the number one man, I'm the face of boxing, this is what I want. And if he wants Berlanga in May, like I predicted, and Munguía, it's because PBC have insulted him. Right, I'll pass it back to you, Ra.
You know what? You say no one tells him what to do?
No, nobody. Not even Suleiman.
There is someone who tells him what to do. The market, who pays his wages. That's us, the fans.
But he knows his value.
We've
Eddie
got the
Hunt
right,
said it
we've
last
got the
night.
right to tell him what to do. Now, you're right, but there's certain fighters who've got such a massive market value that they can ignore what the hardcore fans, which is people like me and you, they can ignore that. We've seen, say, someone like Fury do that.
However,
ducking, it's really only the hardcore and the fight industry insiders that will understand what ducking is. The masses, that the casuals, they're more interested in the celebrity, the personality that they're following, rather than the actual essence of the sport, which is what we're interested in, and which is why we can recognize what a duck is. So my theory is Canelo signed up to this PPC deal, with very good lawyers, admittedly, to make sure his contract's watertight. And by the way, this isn't a criticism of this isn't saying he's done something morally or legally incorrect. I'm sure legally it's perfectly above board, but from a purely sporting point of view, which is what the issue of ducking is about, I think he signed up to it with the proviso that he's got these minimum guarantees. Because he's such a big star, he'll have made sure the paperwork doesn't say anything about who he has to fight. And he went into it with the view that he's going to get his minimum guarantee, which is hefty, but for 3 easy touches. Yeah.
But Ra,
or at least 2 easy touches. Now, the first one, Jamel, I'll be honest, I thought it was legit, even though there was a 2 division or 3 division weight gap. I still thought, nah, undisputed champion, 2 divisions down, but in actual size terms, they're not really that much different because Canelo started at the same weight. He's just decided he doesn't want to boil off as much weight anymore. So I thought it's legit. Maybe Canelo knew something from all them years of sparring that it's a soft touch. But anyway, I won't call the Jamel fight a soft touch. But then he wanted a couple of more soft touches, knowing full well they couldn't stump up the money. And he doesn't want to take the real smoke, which is over there at PBC. Yeah. That's what he had in his mind all along. That's a duck. Yeah.
Is it
a duck. It might be legal. Listen, again, much like I say about people like Tank, if I was their manager, I'd absolutely be telling them, take the soft touches for as much money or more money. But I'm not a manager. I'm a fan. I don't care how much money he earns or Tank earns or Fury earns. I don't care how much brain damage they get. As the consumer, I want my money's worth. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back to the time when Canelo signed the deal with PBC for the 3 fight. Okay.
Yeah.
David Benavidez was never one of them fights. It's only because of what's happened since he signed that deal and since fighting Andrade, and PBC sacrificed Andrade for me because they knew damn well David, or the winner out of them two, was never going to get Canelo anyway. So there's another dirty trick that PBC done. They sacrificed Andrade to David Benavidez because they knew Canelo wasn't going to do any business with him. So they set up a big fight with Andrade as an eliminator for his mandatory, and that's where a lot of fans are feeding off this rhetoric, this narrative that Canelo is ducking purely because the WBC put him in a position where he was going to be mandatory. But however, I find it hard to call it a duck when Alvarez signed the contract, and David Benavidez or mandatories were never mentioned in the contract, and so Alvarez had the choice of PBC roster at that time, right?
Yeah.
That got taken away from him, so no wonder he's declined. And then,
sorry, what got taken away from him?
The fight details, like
okay,
like
listen,
he was supposed to. He was told he's got to fight David Benavidez. The Zone wanted him to do that, but Amazon Prime, did they not have something to say about it? Do we know what Canelo has said to Amazon Prime and between them and BBC? Because don't forget, they're all partners. They all speak. So I don't think anybody was in the dark at any time. It's just how all this news has been interpreted by the fans and the media.
Yeah,
but
of course.
There's no way it's a duck.
That's neutral. That's why me and you are here. We've got to put our own interpretation on, because none of us are inside the negotiating room. Listen, how I interpret a duck is this. I interpret a duck to be when a fighter does not take the best possible challenge when the fight's in a position to be made. Yeah. When a fight's in a position to be made, unless they take another fight which gives them more legacy or more money. Now, the money factor that isn't there with Canelo, because whoever he fights, he's going to draw the enormous amounts of money. Yeah. So he can't say, well, I'm going to go and fight this other guy because it's more money. No, the Benavidez fight or the Crawford fight, both of which could be made with PBC. Well, up until a week ago, it could have. Things have changed. He didn't want either of them, right? So the money factor ain't there. The legacy factor, well, Benavidez is an ex-WBC champ, and he is the WBC mandatory, even though it hasn't been called. So other than Morel,
he's no longer mandatory. Benavidez is no longer mandatory to Canelo.
Right, but isn't that only because he's now going up to light heavyweight because he's been told Canelo isn't going to fight him?
And who told him? So who told him that and when?
Canelo did, didn't he?
No, Suleiman told Benavidez that Canelo is not fighting him, because Canelo told Suleiman, "I'm not fighting Benavidez this year."
Okay,
that's why Suleiman had to backtrack, right, from making him mandatory, which he was going to do. It was going to be officially announced, and he had to backtrack and say, right, no, David's going to be now.
Okay, so if a fighter says he's definitely not going to fight this particular challenger, I class that as a duck. Like I said, unless he's taking a fight that meets one of those other two criteria, i.e., more money or more legacy. He isn't taking a fight. He isn't taking any of those fights that give him more legacy.
We do not know the details of the DAZN contract.
Okay, fair play. Right? As it stands, we don't.
It's a brand new deal, so we don't know
who else is available.
Well,
I mean,
you know,
Berlanga
no,
and
I want
Munguía,
you to no, right. I want you to look at it this way, right? Rather than right when you say fighter, you're not talking about Canelo. You're talking about the average Joe fighters that
now I'm
are out
talking about
there,
all fighters. All
right?
fighters.
Well,
Once you get to a certain
Canelo and
level,
Mayweather were different breeds of fighters. That you can't put the ordinary rules of what boxing should
why,
be. You
why,
can't
why
put
not?
them in there
Why
because
not?
they don't do what you want.
Yeah,
I've
but
seen it all
whether
before.
whether they do what we want or not isn't the point. I'm saying how we interpret their actions. It's not dependent on whether they can or want to do what we want. I'm saying as fans, when we scrutinize fighters and we scrutinize their career and their level and their greatness, do we care whether they earn this much money or that much money?
You got a lot of people that are basing fights on pocket watching, right?
Yeah, I
Come
know,
on.
and it's
And they
stupid.
go, no, he wouldn't get out of bed for that. He wouldn't get out of bed for that. Rubbish. They don't know. But you've got to remember the background here, right? It's a unique situation. You've got PBC, okay, struggling. I don't know what the issue is, whether it's finances, whether it's guarantees that are going wrong. But the simple thing is, Canelo walked away from a breach of contract. Now, we don't know what them breaches are other than what we can guess, what we can assume until we see the written contract ourselves, and we're not going to see that. So if we look at what the facts of what has happened, Canelo's walked away. Fact, right?
Yeah.
That means the facts of that means is that PBC couldn't, somewhere along the line, as per the contract, that when Canelo originally signed it, and don't forget, Benavidez was not in the picture then.
If he wasn't in the
He
picture,
was, because when he signed the
Canelo
deal,
didn't want it. Would you agree? If Benavidez weren't in the picture, it's because Canelo said he's not in there.
no,
Would you agree?
Because Benavidez couldn't sell a telephone box at that time, right?
Yeah,
Don't forget,
none of
he lost
Canelo's.
his belts on the scales.
Listen,
He
this
lost a
ain't
lot of fans and a lot of
this ain't a
kudos for that.
defense of PBC or Benavidez. I've been critical of them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is purely about what Canelo's decision is because the power is all with him.
Right.
A lot of Canelo's opponents, they don't sell tickets like Benavidez.
Well, they shouldn't sign
less.
They shouldn't sign stupid deals with the likes of Canelo, to be honest. I mean, that was a ridiculous deal that when it come to the nitty-gritty, right? And as I said last year, all their three big prospects who fought last year all lost, apart from Tank, right? They come into 2024. Where's all the money they made? Where's all the money they made? Where's the pot that they put the money in for the next shows? They know damn well Canelo and Crawford are there. And let me give you another theory. I've got another theory that PBC actually wanted Canelo out of this contract. So there's another thing to consider. But what strikes me the most, right, and this is the biggest point for me, right, was the no contest of him walking away, right? It was meek. It was let's see it was
what are you doing
tail,
here?
you had your
Canelo love it. Look,
yes, man, Abbas, my right hand man.
Abbas saw someone shitting on his beloved Canelo, and he had to come defend his honor.
So I put the bat signal up.
So I had about 10 minutes spare, and I was just listening in, putting my comments in. But I had to give my 2 pence for this because
like any fan, boy, of course you gotta put your 2 cents in. 2 cents. He's putting in a whole dime, nickel.
Get that dollar in. Get that dollar in.
I'm paying the 35 million that he's not being given. But I just wanted to ask you this, right? If Canelo retires tomorrow, has he shortchanged anybody in his career?
Yes. And in fact, if you want, I want to go full in and shit on his whole legacy. Yeah.
Whoa! Don't you dare do that, mate. Me and you are gonna fall out.
You want me to do that? I can do that.
Oh, mate, look at the hardware he was holding there. He didn't have a long enough arms, mate.
That's my point.
Very,
so what?
Very good.
Now we're getting
you can
to a
still
point
shit on it.
Now we're getting to a point where what you are saying is one fight after securing 60 plus fights in his career is now going to define his career. Outside
No.
Benavidez. Mate?
It's there's a cumulative effect of numerous things he's done throughout his career since he's become a star. Yeah. Now, are there people worse than Canelo in the modern game? Yes. But am I judging him by them standards? No. Why? Because his own fans, his promoters, his supporters, and now he himself is holding himself to the standard of the past greats. He's now saying, I'd have whooped Carlos Monzon. I'd have whooped Roy Jones Jr. in their prime. I'd have whooped Andre Ward. Okay, you're talking yourself up in those terms. Now you got to be compared to historic terms, not by modern terms. And yeah, you want to do that? I can shit on his legacy.
And let's be honest, Andre Ward lost the fight to Kovalev, but we don't talk about that because he retired enough to be a hero.
Listen, great fighters can lose. Great fighters can lose. Muhammad Ali lost to Ken Norton. He lost to Leon Spinks.
Canelo wants to be a free agent in 2025. That's when I think he'll fight Benavidez, but not before. But at 175.
He's being very strategic about who he fights and when.
That's the name of the game with them superstars. It's a manage. When they get older, they have to manage the decline.
It weren't the name of the game when Carlos Monzon was reigning over the heavyweight division.
I know that's 40 years ago, mate. You can't take what happened 40 years ago into today's environment. It doesn't work. It's two different markets. It's a different sport altogether.
You're comparing fighters to all-time greats.
That's just opinion. We got to stay with facts. Stay with the facts.
And to Neutral's point, we are now in an era where every top elite fighter is taking the Floyd Mayweather route, which is I decide.
Every elite fighter's not doing that.
No, right. Carlos Monzon. Imagine him putting in today's 4-belt era, right?
Yeah, he'd have whooped all four of them.
He would have whipped every day. And he would have been the undisputed champion. And he'd be saying to you who he's fighting next. What are you going to say to the likes of that? Because every boxer who's got to that position has done exactly the same. Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I'll shit on Fury. Dev Sani's he's got really annoyed with me when I've tried to question his boy's legacy. Tyson Fury is another one who is not an all-time great. I'm not even convinced.
But out of the two, are you going to deny Canelo an all-time great tag because he didn't fight David Benavidez?
No. I'm not going to deny him it, but for me, it's questionable now. A series of things that he's done over the course of his career, it's now questionable. Do you want to go through his legacy?
Take you back to 2021 when David Benavidez lost the belts on the scales. Did you not remember what Canelo said at that point, at that time?
No.
You
weren't paying attention.
Right. He's insulted. He has insulted me, and I will never give him a fight. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And when he said the same to Andrade, did he give Andrade a fight? No. When he said the same to Jamal Charlo, right? The only reason that Jamal Charlo was even getting a fight is because he was PBC, right? So when he decides who he's fighting, if along the way and you insult him or you argue with him, he's one of them guys. He won't entertain you.
You know what? To me, that makes him even more of a duck. You know why? Because when you are that wealthy and you're in such a powerful position that you can tell guys, yeah, here's your offer, take it or leave it, and it's going to be their best payday. We know that because everyone generally takes the offer when it's given to them.
Yeah. So what convinces you that David Benavidez is all this to have that?
I don't get wrong. I don't even rate Benavidez that high, but I think that Canelo has already gone into pension top-up mode.
That's fine though. He's allowed to do that.
Again, that's
he's allowed to, but it ain't fine. Not as a boxing fan. Not in terms of boxing history. It ain't fine. No, it ain't fine. If you are the undisputed champion of the world, you don't get a pass. As long as you are a champion,
Charles, 2 years got passes, right?
That is the definition of
Charles got passes for 2 years. Errol Spence got a pass for 2 years.
You seem to think that just because I'm criticizing,
you're talking about Canelo as if he's the alone in this.
No. All of these guys, I ain't got time for them either. The difference is those guys ain't out here saying, "Oh yeah, I'm as great as all the these greats of the past. I'd have beaten London, I'd have beaten Hagler, I'd have beaten this guy. I'm the greatest Mexican ever."
I tell you why. Because they don't have the cachet that Canelo Alvarez does. They don't have a 60-win resume that Canelo Alvarez does. They don't have
60-fight resume. Only about 20 of them were top-level guys. The first 40 were his learning fights.
Irrelevant. The fact that he still built that up still stands with him. Because
look, back in the 90s, there were Mexicans that ran up records of 56-0 before they had
Chavez Senior.
Chavez Senior. There was the guy
he won 89 fights and lost his 90th.
No, Campas, the guy that ran up a record 56-0. Then he went up against Felix Trinidad and got blitzed in 4 rounds.
But that's the point.
Running up an enormous record.
Boxing, right?
It's what do you do at championship level? At championship level,
he's done everything possible.
No. All right. Do you want me to go through it? You want me to break your heart?
Was Tyson Fury a duck for making Dillian White wait 2 years?
Yes. Just as he was a duck when he didn't take the David Price fight. Did he go on to be a better fighter than David Price? Yes. But that doesn't erase the duck that he had early on in his career.
On hindsight, has it damaged his reputation doing that?
No.
Because nobody else. And the same will happen here.
Would you say boxing also is built on rivalries between certain fighters?
Yeah, of course.
How we can judge. So this is my point. Let's strip away the 60+ fights. Let's just take it down to, because we're looking at the nitty-gritty. Let's look at Canelo's biggest ever rival in his career. Take away baby Canelo. Golovkin.
Yeah,
he fought him 3 times.
When it suited him. He ducked. Look,
he dragged Canelo got dragged Golovkin up to 168. Remember,
listen, he's ducking now. He's ducked before, and he's gonna duck again before his career's up. And you know what? This whole idea that he's this great warrior, utterly fearless, fights anyone. You want another hot take from me? It's a hater's hot take, but I'll give you a hot take.
You hate him, brother.
Before his career is up, Canelo is going to quit in the ring. Yeah, all of these macho tough guys. Eventually, he's going to quit in the ring, just like Roberto Duran quit against Sugar Ray Leonard, just like Julio Cesar Chavez quit against Frankie Randall.
Somebody get this man an Uber. Get him an Uber.
Mike Tyson quit against Evander Holyfield, the baddest man on the planet. All of these tough guys that are so invincible, one of these days they come across someone, they hit him, and the guy ain't scared of them. They quit.
You know who that'll be?
And I'll tell you what. Let's analyze his career. Yeah, can I do that? Can I break your heart, Abbas? Yeah.
But my heart can't be broken with Canelo.
Listen, Floyd Mayweather, gets battered pillar to post by a near 40-year-old lightweight.
Let's be honest. Oscar De La Hoya tried to do what?
As Chris has just said, what's Canelo done to you, mate?
Near 40 years old, the guy gets battered pillar to post, by a lightweight. Okay. Then comes back, wins the title, has a lucky escape against Lara, a southpaw, tricky southpaw. Moves up. The WBC do him a favor, lets him challenge for the middleweight title
And a franchise
against Miguel Cotto, a former welterweight. Beats a welterweight for the middleweight title. Right, around this time, who's made his mandatory? A certain Gennady Golovkin. Does he take the fight? No. In his first defense, he fights Amir Khan, a lightweight. Yeah, and then struts around like
no.
big man Ting, knocking out a lightweight.
Yes, right.
Now
Right.
you have disrespected my goat.
No. But let's go the other way around with that, right? He went up to 175. He went up to 175 and won.
Dude, you'll get your chance. I have to get my hate in.
Get in.
So let's see. First two fights at middleweight. Wins it against a welterweight, then defends it against a lightweight. Okay. Then the mandatory Golovkin is called. What does he do? He shat himself and vacates the belt. Goes back down to 154 to fight Liam Smith. So he can outsize him by 30 pounds. Yeah. Then he goes up, a non-entity fight, Julio Cesar Chavez at a catch weight. He's dead at the weight. Then he finally sees that Golovkin slowed down enough and thinks, okay, now it might be safe to fight him. And he gets a couple of lucky decisions. Yeah? So that's him at middleweight. Then he says, oh, I want to be the first Mexican to win four world titles. Gets Rocky Fielding, who's not even the best super middleweight in Liverpool.
It's not Canelo's fault. It's not Canelo's fault.
Yeah?
That's not Canelo's fault. But he looked at that division and went, I can win that.
If you're talking about being a 4-weight world champion, you don't choose the WBA regular when there's an actual champion. Yeah? Okay, beats Danny Jacobs, good fight. Kovalev on paper, good win at light heavyweight, but he gets him 8 weeks after Kovalev nearly gets stopped. Yeah, so let's be honest, that 8th round against Anthony Yard, that
was my only problem with that fight. And that was a catch weight as well.
You're saying now we go into his super middleweight proper super middleweight era. This is the hardware that you love so much, yeah? 4 belts.
Yeah.
Okay, gives Callum Smith 5 weeks notice when there's no sparring available because of COVID. 5 weeks notice to make weight because it's his biggest payday. Batters him around like he's a big man ting. The WBC
he went 12 rounds.
Do their friend a favor by giving him Avni Yildirim as the WBC champ. Yeah? Big man ting again. Yildirim, come on. He gets beaten by Jack Cullen. Jack Cullen beats Avni Yildirim. That's who he gets. And okay, the next two guys, Saunders and Plant, decent wins. But then he goes up again and finds out what a proper light heavyweight who's not struggling to make weight and isn't shot and brain damaged, gets battered from pillar to post. And just like against Mayweather, when he gets battered around, where's this warrior that digs in to try and win a fight that he's losing? He doesn't. He just feels sorry for himself, which means when he finally comes up against someone who's not intimidated by him at all, he's going to quit. That's my prediction. And then since then, okay, Golovkin, the shot version, beats him. Ryder, good fighter. And Charlo, 2 divisions down. And now he's politicking again. He doesn't want to fight the 2 best super middleweights out there, even though he was contracted to the same promotional outfit. That is Benavidez, the WBC #1, and Morel, the WBA #1. He doesn't want to fight them. He wants to go back to DAZN and beat up a couple of guys who themselves, I think, I mean, you know my views. You know about my unforgiven list, yeah? I mean, Berlanga, to be fair, he ain't on it. But Munguía, he's another guy that dodges difficult fights. Oh, and one last thing, I forgot. Our old friend Andrade, yeah? Canelo, when he beat Danny Jacobs, he had 3 of the 4 middleweight belts. The other one was held by Andrade. Why wouldn't you want to be undisputed at middleweight when that is the more historically significant division? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because he remembered how much trouble he had with Lara and thought, "Ooh, another southpaw who's tall and athletic. This might not go down too well. Yeah, let me leave middleweight and go up to super middleweight where there's some slow plodding fighters that I can batter around." Yeah, that's what's up, guys. Canelo, like I said, that I'm a hater. That's my scrutiny of his career so far. Is he a great? Yeah. Doesn't deserve the love you and Abbas are giving him, though.
Right, I will address a couple of points there what you made, and
Abbas, you were allowed to hang around for a bit, or you wait, neutral? Am I mistaken? But is that sadness we see in our brother Abbas's eyes?
No, there's not. Because what I heard from
he's just taking in what you were saying.
I'm just taking everything in.
Well, I'm going Abbas.
But I'll let
don't
you go
worry.
neutral.
Right. Well, I'm going to address a few things what he's been saying there. Yes, I'll give you that. When he was younger, he was bringing people up at younger, the lower weights from welterweight to middleweight. That was a long time ago. You're talking about.
When you say younger, he weren't young like a novice pro. He was in his mid to late 20s, which is the
mid-20s.
Prime of his career.
Is a mid-20s boxer in your mind still, a prospect in making?
No, that's the prime of your life. That's the prime of your life.
No, 25.
25. No. If you started your pro career at 15, you've been a pro for 10 years. You've been fighting numerous world title fights. That's the prime of your life. What are you doing fighting welterweights and lightweights? Right.
Let me move on. So you've got that point when we get to super middleweight.
Yeah.
Do you not think that Team Reynoso, right, looked at that middleweight division well before even Canelo moving up and said, right, we've got a pathway. And if you don't believe in a boxer's pathway at that time, you're not understanding the route. So the route for him was legacy at that point.
Yeah.
But what happens is, because of his popularity, right, no matter who he was fighting, he was making $35, $50 million a fight.
Right.
With his sponsors, with PPV, right? So, it's little wonder that he said to himself, right, I don't want this division now, because they're all, you imagine the rhetoric that was going on between Andre, Carlos, and you remember all the ducking about GGG rematch, and them sort of things. But what people forget is when he went to 168, he fought Rocky Fielding, undefeated champion. He fought. Wait a minute. Right? He fought.
Neutral. I know you live in Liverpool, so I'll give you
Billy Joe Saunders. Callum Smith, when he fought him, was undefeated. Right? And the only way he took Callum out was that left bicep. And he took it out early, because that left hook of Callum's was a problem for Canelo, and he knew it. So he strategizes everything he does. Everything he does is planned in advance. And when other people come into the conversation, it's hard to convince him. Like I said to you the other, one of my last statements was, when he signed that contract, his pathway was already set for 2024. He wants to be rid of PBC by the end of 2024. So how do you know that he is not going to go and say to Benavidez' team via PBC at a later date and say, right, we're in the position now. We weren't there before.
Yeah.
Because Suleiman took the thing away from him after Suleiman took the mandatory away from Benavidez after Canelo expressed his wishes to fight the remainder of his 2 fights off his contract with PBC Fighters that he had signed to. Now, when that's how he was able to walk away, it's unfair to say when he's chasing a fifth world division champ belt at light heavyweight, or was that his 4th? I think it was his 4th. They were talking about cruiserweight. Everybody was talking about Canelo should fight this man. He should fight this man, and it's different divisions. So no matter who he fights, he's ducking. Right? There was a time with that. If he fought Andrade, he was ducking Charlo. If he was fighting other people, he was ducking them.
It's not
right?
whoever he fights.
No, I mean, but he fought at 168, right? He fought all the best that 168 could deliver in this area, right?
Yeah,
when he was a welterweight. When you undermine that achievement by hating on him for the fact that he's in your eyes he's ducking David Benavidez, a mandatory that was only a mandatory 6 months. I know about the father of 2 years, but he lost that right on the scales, so he has to reset. And I'm sorry, but there's been better fighters than Benavidez with better resumes who's waited longer.
I was just going to say quickly, because I do have to go. First, when you break down every single fight, then of course there's chinks and armors with every single boxer. And then then on that basis, we can't really value any boxer at a certain point.
That's not true, because I'm not criticizing past greats for taking the fights and losing. Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson and Sugar Ray Leonard, they took all the fights.
Generation.
Lost. I don't say they're diminished because they lost.
No, but my point is that's a different generation. If we look at this particular era, I always say from the Floyd Mayweather school of thinking, unfortunately, a lot of boxers will also see what he's done, understand what his legacy is. Although I do say now going forward, Floyd's kind of diminished it with what he's been doing in terms of these stupid exhibition fights, etc. I think put to one side what you did boxing wise and just go to the sunset. What I will say is what you said about Dimitri Bivol and that fight, that's disgraceful, because what you're now saying is you're criticizing a man who's daring to be great and unfortunately coming up just short, and now saying that we have to hold that against him. We should never hold that against him. What he did.
You're misunderstanding me. I'm not holding just that against him. It's a whole series of things. Yeah,
he's in that position to do that, and then obviously from what we saw,
that's the thing. That's the worst thing. When you're in that position and you exploit it, that ain't the.
Yeah, but Mayweather exploits their position. Come on, Ra.
You know what? Mayweather, I'll give a pass. You know why? All of his nonsense as Money Mayweather, he done it when he was way, way past his best. And you got to remember, towards the end of his career, most of the guys he was fighting were actually way bigger than him. I mean, him going up against
So this
Canelo.
Is interesting. You said that. Canelo, we've seen his peak. It's a decline that we're seeing, but it's such a short decline that he's still better than a significant lot of boxers. Now, we're not saying that he's not going to fight Benavidez. Benavidez, surely at his age, can only get better. And if that is the case, we're going to actually see a more diminished Canelo as he ages, where he fights Benavidez, and if anything, gives him an even better opportunity to beat him. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Not necessarily, because it depends where and when the fight is made. If it's
Let's say 2025.
If it's at 168, I think Benavidez will be dead at the weight.
Tell me.
There you go. Now we're seeing Benavidez at 175. He's looking to fight at 175. If we get 2025 Canelo versus Benavidez at 175, potentially.
Listen,
now double what you get now. It'll double what you get now.
This is why I did clarify. I'm not dismissing his legacy, because it's not. It's no, up until now. As it stands, I am dismissing. Not dismissing it. I'm shitting on it. But his career's not over. So he can redeem it. Yeah, listen, there's been fighters, I've been critical of them, and when they've turned it round, I say, okay, great, he made me eat my words. Jamel Charlo's one of them. I thought he acted like a little bitch in the past, but he knuckled down and became undisputed champ.
So why did David Benavidez avoid David Morrell to fight Andrade?
Well, he's a bitch as well. What, you think just because I'm criticizing Canelo for ducking Benavidez, you think that I'm going to then give Benavidez a pass for his dogs and his misdemeanors?
My point being about Benavidez.
But that's a different issue. This is all about Canelo, not Benavidez.
No, my point about Benavidez and Canelo is it's not a fact that we're not guaranteed to not see.
Oh, okay, like I said, if we get it, I'll eat my words and I'll say, well done, Canelo.
I will say this.
Even if he loses, I'll say he done what a great champion's meant to do.
You will say that, but then what we will have is this fans who will look to say Canelo couldn't beat him, Canelo could, and that's my issue. If we are starting to get fans that will turn around and say this, why am I, as a fighter, going to diminish my legacy? Because we're having people who have hardly any understanding of boxing now disgracing Canelo Alvarez for what he's achieved just because of certain losses he may potentially get. We saw the outrage against Bivol. We saw that. And that, for me, just made me
my man's cooking.
That we looked at the fact that this
man is cooking.
I love.
And now, because of one loss that he had against a guy who's now fighting for undisputed against Beterbiev, is going to diminish his legacy. And that's why I look at Canelo and I think, don't listen to the fans. You do what you want to do because you've earned that right. And then you have sickos who are the casuals who will disgrace it by potentially he could lose a fight.
I think you've got it the wrong way round. The casuals support him because he's a celebrity.
The casuals support him until he loses. And then they will turn around and say, we told you he couldn't do this.
Are you saying that he's lost a lot of support since losing to Bivol? It's only hardcores that are being critical of him.
I think so.
Well, Rob, we've got to take into account now, right? The news today that come out, Michael Benson actually tweeted this, that the reason Canelo doesn't want the DB fight is because DB's team want it on Amazon Prime through a cross-promotional. Canelo doesn't want anything to do with PBC because he's walked away. Why walk away and then join the zone only to go and work with them again? You understand?
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. If you were going to fight those fighters,
it's all over the TV rights for this and this issue, and that's probably a major factor in why the fight was turned down by Canelo. However, if anybody could resurrect it, guys, as you well know, is Eddie. Now that he's with Eddie, Eddie has the clout. He has the backing to provide Canelo with and David Benavidez to come to an agreement. So let's hope that common sense prevails. But as I said in another show, and the reasons why I picked Berlanga and Munguía this year was for two reasons. Okay, one of them is the easier fights. I'll give you that, Ra.
So you want it as a hardcore fan.
Berlanga is an easier fight. However, I'm going to throw a spanner in your works by saying Munguía absolutely destroys David Benavidez. And that's where I can't accept this argument about Benavidez, because he's not come up against a level that's going to be close to Canelo yet, i.e. beat Plant, stop Plant. But so did Canelo. So, he's there, but he's that for me. He's one fight away. He could have fought David Morrell. He could have fought Berlanga.
Who could have fought Berlanga?
David Benavidez. If PBC and Golden Boy were working,
they're on different platforms.
Because they had these two were working together for the fights in December, right? It's good enough then, but it's not good enough now. No.
The money's not good enough.
Golden Boy have to, and they reached out to Eddie and DAZN last night as the interviews that we saw. They're going to be working together now, and PBC are going to be left out in the cold unless they start coming to the senses and joining the global market that's being changed in front of their eyes. And for me, Canelo's taken advantage of that. For him to walk away from PBC and then go to right, or let's do a deal with David, but no, Benavidez has to leave PBC. It's as simple as that. He has to get out of that contract. And for me, if he does that, and he, it's every possibility that then Canelo will think. But now that David's gone up and is fighting as eliminator for the winner of Bevon Beterbiev, it's a much harder road than Canelo. That we can agree on because Bevon beat Canelo. So if he gets the winner, it's a much harder road. And I will give David Benavidez the biggest flowers for doing that route and becoming successful. And that's when you can say, Canelo ducked him.
I personally think 2025 we see this fight. And we see it at
So do
175. I think 175 we will see this fight.
A mega fight. Undisputed versus undisputed. Think about it.
I don't think we see Bivol versus Canelo in terms of a rematch, but
No.
I do believe we see Benavidez versus Canelo because I do not believe Canelo Alvarez. Now he might not fight like I was saying to what the fans want anymore, but he will make sure alongside Eddie Hearn that he will get the fights that the fans eventually want. Just like we have with Floyd. Floyd technically has not ducked Manny Pacquiao because he fought Manny Pacquiao. He may not have fought it when everybody consensuously wanted it, but we got the fight. We got Triple G versus Canelo 3 times. We will get Benavidez because Canelo seems to me personally that he's not that guy to allow any stones unturned before he hits that switch on retirement. And when he does, the boxing gap that's going to be left to fill in will not be able to be done.
Well said. Well said.
Oh, the sight of
that point, we will be Lucy, at that fight, and I will watch you.
Lucy's, I believe, our only female viewer. Lucy, we love you. By the way, big up to everyone who's viewing. Lucy, get yourself a man who defends you the way Abbas defends his beloved Canelo.
All I'm saying is, Matshu, if you're watching this, give me that Canelo interview. It'll be as amazing as you need.
CJ, big up to CJ. We got two ladies viewers. Get yourself a man if you're into men, but get someone that loves you the way Abbas loves his Canelo. Come, let's. We've almost gone for an hour. Trey, can we go through some of
the show?
Thanks for joining, Abbas, and I'll see you and Ray soon to discuss that other big mythical fight, Canelo and Crawford, if it ever happens, and why Crawford batters
anytime.
Canelo.
I'm not hearing a 147 fighter being able to beat my goal. Take care, guys.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's my show.
Big up. Neutral, you want to tell the fans all about your new show? You are a new part of the family. You've gone in on me. This is with your tune-up. Trey, can we see the thumbnail for Neutral's show and tell the fans all about it? What can we expect from you?
Well, thank you, Ralph. Thank you. First and foremost, thanks everybody who will tune in tomorrow for my brand new show, Hard Talk, hosted by me, and I'll be featuring famous celebrities in the world of boxing. As you can see there, Evans Tobler is my first guest. I've already spoken to him on Spaces before, but this is the first time live, so this will be a very entertaining show, I can tell you, because knowing Evans, he gets very passionate, he brings the fire, and yeah, that's why I've got a under 18s ban on there, just for keeping it real. Join us tomorrow because I'm going to have that man spitting fire, and and if I know Evans, which I do, he will bring his A game, and we will be discussing everything that's going on, and we'll be discussing the big up and coming fight because I know he's got a lot to say on it. So join us tomorrow. I can't wait. Thank you, Ra, for tonight. It's been absolutely. I told you I'm coming to cook here, but Abbas, my commie chef, has come up.
You needed backup, and
my commie chef just come. He done it for me, mate. I'm like that, my. You know, he made me look bad. No, big up, Abbas. Thank you for coming through. That was brilliant, pal. And Ra, I've enjoyed tonight, mate. It's been
great fun. Yeah,
great fun. Big up, Ricco. He'll be back next week on R&R. I've just, filled in for a night. I've enjoyed it. It's part of the iBoxingHub team. So, and don't forget, guys, D-Rock Apparel, take advantage of the discount code iBoxingHub 24, 40% off. My order's going in the morning. Can't wait. I think I might
my
get
order's on its way. One. Extra fitted, of course.
Yes. The great Johnny Nelson there, looking sharp, and I can't wait to start wearing the clobber myself. So, thank you, Ralph, for having me on. It's been great, mate. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, just some upcoming stuff. Where can fans follow you social media? Yeah, I know you also very active on Twitter, or X as it's now called.
Yeah, Twitter X. You can find me in Neutral's Corner. Like and subscribe or follow, please. I'll follow back. Because it's only right. Now, I'm on Facebook, but I've got nothing there, so I don't bother with that. But I will be. I'm hiring my daughter to run my socials for me, so I'll be opening a new, probably a new Instagram an account. I'll keep you posted of that. But you got my YouTube channel there, Neutral's Corner, and Twitter. So that's where that's my base. I start there, and then we'll spread out as we go along, right?
Oh yeah. Conquest, it's coming. I will be covering the Wasserman show in Telford tomorrow night, so keep an eye out. Our channel, Punchout Boxing. Hopefully we'll get you some of the fighters' views as I usually do, and now and again I will be sticking my oar in on Twitter, and of course, as you said, hopefully next week Ricco will be well rested. And I'll be positive again because we won't be talking about Canelo.
You can take that hatred mask off.
I can take it. Hey, listen, me and Ricco, it's always good fun now and again.
Oh yeah,
it's good to even a nice guy like
used to crack me up. You get the best of each other. It's funny.
All right, Stevie, absolute pleasure. We will look out for your show tomorrow, and
please do, guys. Please do.
Call it a night tonight. Everyone, have a good evening, and we'll see you soon.
It's another bang. All the Muslim cars now, whichever get up. Light up my scars with a sweet one, please. Someone flips me a back, but so it's another one. It's another.